Mother's Day weekend of 2020, a daughter stopped by her mom's house to bring her a card and wish her a happy Mother's Day. Yet when she arrived, her mom did not answer the door. After multiple days and many attempts to get a hold of her, she was reported missing and has not been seen or heard from since. Today's episode is on missing mother of 4, Echo Lloyd. Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder. I am Rachel.
And I'm Heather.
We bring you the good,
The badass.
and the crime.
This is Like Mother, Like Murder.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder, your favorite true crime momcast. I am Rachel.
And I'm Heather. And we're the hosts. And here on Like Mother, Like Murder, we bring you mom-related crime content weekly from missing moms, murdered moms, moms who murder, survivors, and more.
To everyone who is returning, welcome back. Always happy to have you. And those who are new here, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you guys for checking us out.
Yes, and we are back for season 3, baby. And today is episode 134.
Yes.
But before we get to that, we've got quite a bit to talk about, a lot of housekeeping things to kind of get you caught up on before we get in today's episode.
All right. So first of all, we missed you. We missed you guys. 2 weeks off is too long. But before that, so we need to give the biggest shout out of all to all of the listeners. We changed platforms a few times, so we don't have all of the accurate numbers or anything, but we love seeing our weekly listens and downloads grow each week. We're kind of like all over the place. We are in so many countries. And so some of those top ones, the US, Australia, the UK, Canada being our most listened to countries. And here in the States where we live, California, Kentucky, Texas, and Michigan are our top states that we're listened to in.
Nice.
And seriously, like, we just need to give you guys all the flowers. We love this. And like, we do it. We love it. It's an us thing, but it's because of you guys. And so
For sure.
Heather and I, we love podcasting. We started this as a little hobby podcast, and we've grown so much over the past couple of years and seasons. Season 3, baby. And hope to continue for years and years to come. With that said, I'm going to say that our rating on Apple is pissing me off. So
People are so rude sometimes.
yeah. And it's not even like that bad, but still. So if you
Yeah.
guys love us and have not left a rating or review wherever you listen, please go and do that.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, you guys all know it. We live in this digital age, but it really does help the algorithm. It helps us to get seen by more people so we can share more stories, share more mom-related content, and, you know, just boost our spirits as well. And honestly, if you're listening to us as a hater and you've made it this far, there's plenty of other podcasts out there for you guys. So if you need recommendations, go out to our Instagram page. We shout out podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
And season 3, it won't be too much different from our huge, but at the same time, there are a few things that we are bringing this season, changing it up a little. You'll obviously still hear us every week, weekly episodes every Tuesday. Rachel and I take turns telling you guys cases like we have been, and we'll update episodes, or we'll provide updates on episodes every so often with all of the new cases, new trials that are coming out. And then obviously we have our good badass crime segments, which we love so much. So that's all the same. But we will also be starting to bring our mini missing moment segments to the podcast.
Yes.
Rachel's been doing an amazing job with that on our social media. So if you're not on our Instagram page, make sure you go check that out. Rachel does that. And now we're going to bring it onto the podcast. And I'm just very excited to see that reach more people.
Yeah, that's exciting. I love that. I've done one so far, and instantly I was like, Heather, can we do this? Can we do this all the time? Yeah. So the only thing that may change, if anything, is that we're going to lean even harder into who we are. We know we talk a lot. We know that, the open conversation and banter isn't for everyone, and that's okay. We have our intro to do what we want, be who we are. And when we get into our episode, and yeah, we might be a little bit biased, you guys, but we believe that we cover it professionally and respectfully, as much as we can. And we have listeners who love how we cover our cases and talk about the victims, survivors, and the interviews with family members. And we have listeners who love the mom talk and the chit chat. So we're going to try to balance that the best as we can. Either you're here for it or you're not. We truly hope that you are, but either way, that is fine. It's fine.
Okay, and next item of business, we now have our supporters club. It is through the host of our podcast. It's very similar to Patreon, if you know what that is, but it's basically a paid subscription. So by no means do you have to do that. You'll still be able to hear us every week, but it is an option. So basically, you'll get the same content that you're hearing now, but you won't have to hear ads. And there's just more of us. So for those of you who are looking for that, or for those of you who are just looking for another way to support Like Mother, Like Murder, this is the way to do it. So we have one tier that we're offering right now, and it may change at some point, but right now this is what it is. Rachel came up with the best idea ever to do the angel numbers. So right now we have a 444 tier to join our supporters club. So it's $4.44.
I love that. I wanted to have 222-444-888. All of them. We're not going to go over all of the details here, but there will be, like she said, ad-free listening, some other bonus content, and you can find all of that in the show notes and on our social medias if you guys want to go and check that out and subscribe.
For sure. Subscribe. For sure.
Yeah.
One last thing, if you guys did not notice, but the logo is just a little bit different, and that is because the coolest thing ever, Like Mother, Like Murder, it says Momcast Productions underneath, because a few months ago we officially started our production company, Momcast Productions LLC.
Yes.
And so as part of that, we are also offering editing, script writing, social media work, any of your podcasting needs. So you guys can find more information about that on our Momcast Production Instagram page. I think that's it for now, but we are so happy to be back for season 3. So let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go. I love it. This makes me so happy. As we were before, and kind of more so, because I know that sometimes I drop the ball and did not shout people out. Each week, we will be shouting out a podcast, and today we are going to be shouting out a podcast that we actually just had the honor of working on, The Homicide Tree. The Homicide Tree is a collaborative podcast of women in true crime who came together to bring stories of those who won't be home this holiday season. It's available now in its entirety, wherever you get your podcast at The Homicide Tree. This podcast was created by Jules Thorpe and Jen Rivera and is a Fire Eyes Media production. You guys, take a listen to the trailer, and then we will be back for your episode.
The Homicide Tree, a new true crime podcast limited series coming November 29th, 2024, wherever you get your podcasts. How do families in the trenches of grief and despair navigate how to seek justice for a loved one? Where do families go after a loved one is missing, murdered, or kidnapped? This holiday season, a group of women in true crime podcasting have come together to raise money to help those in need of guidance while they navigate the unthinkable, seeking justice and advocating for their loved one during trauma and tragedy. Shores of Strength is a nonprofit which aims to be a guiding light to those who need help. How can they share their story? Who can they get to listen to them? How can they raise money for legal fees? By donating to Shores of Strength, you're helping victims this holiday season. Each donation is a symbolic ornament placed upon the homicide tree in remembrance of someone's loved one who should be here this holiday season. Each episode is a different case, a different person who should be here, deserves to be here, but isn't. And each case is told by a host of a weekly true crime podcast. Subscribe to the Homicide Tree wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes will be available at once on November 29th. This is a Podcasters Give Back fundraiser produced by Fire Eyes Media, LLC, and all money donated goes directly back to victims with the nonprofit Shores of Strength. And remember, you're wanted, you're loved, and you deserve to be here this holiday season. Stay safe out there.
In 2020, Echo Lloyd was a recently divorced mother of 4, a grandmother, a new homeowner, and someone who was trying to make a life for herself in this new phase in her life. Echo was born May 23rd, 1972, and grew up in Pleasant Hill, Missouri, where her childhood friends became her lifelong friends, and she was a lifelong resident of Pleasant Hill. Echo got married and had her 4 children, Kelsey, Case, Caitlin, and Kylie, and then ended up having 3 grandchildren as well. One big happy family.
It's a lot of babies.
That's a lot of babies. And her daughter Kelsey, who I talk about very often throughout this episode because she has been kind of in the forefront of everything. She was her firstborn, and she was not from the husband with the 3 other ones.
Okay.
3 other children.
Yep.
But, I mean, he was in her life the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Echo was a free spirit. She was kind-hearted, helpful, and the life of the party. She was outdoorsy with a hippie vibe about her. She was married to her husband, Tom, for a long time. But, trigger warning, but unfortunately, Echo was actually sexually assaulted by an acquaintance. And the journey of trying to heal after this strained her marriage. Mm-hmm. And they ended up separating. And in some sources, my understanding is that there was the possibility that it wasn't for good, that it was an amicable split, and that there was the possibility to rekindle. But at the time in Echo's life, she needed to be on her own. She needed to heal and just grow individually after this horrific thing that happened to her. Echo ended up getting a place 60 miles away near the land of the Ozarks, something she was very excited about. And the family, they were excited for her as well, and they were all still very close-knit and would talk often and still see each other. And this actually put her closer to her eldest daughter, Kelsey. This house was in a rural spot and needed some work, and that's one of the things that Echo loved about it. She wanted her own space. She wanted land. She wanted to put the time and effort into renovating, and it was the beginning of the pandemic, so staying home was, first of all, highly recommended to literally everybody, but it was also that I feel like you just saw people doing that a lot, where it was like, oh, I'm gonna either sell my house and go live in a van, or I'm going to buy a fixer-upper and spend all of my time renovating and fixing
I mean,
a
this
house
is
up.
your chance to kind of like literally the whole world's shutting down. So this is your chance to do that now.
Exactly.
Psst, hey, everyone. It's just us in the middle of one of our own episodes. We have huge news we want to share with you all. We now have ad-free listening and bonus content.
Yep, you heard that right. We have a supporters club for exclusive VIP OG listeners like yourself.
Or if you just really hate ads, you can join us as well.
If you join the supporters club, you will get ad-free listening on every episode, one bonus episode each month, and a few other perks here and there.
You can find the link in the show notes to check it out.
All right, back to the episode. On May 10th, 2020, it was Mother's Day, and Kelsey, Echo's eldest daughter, drove over to her mom's house. She got there and noticed that her car wasn't there, but she went up and she knocked on the door, and Echo didn't answer. So she ended up leaving the card and the plant that she had gotten for her for Mother's Day at the house, and then she left. After she left, the next few days, she tried to get a hold of her mom. Others also tried to get a hold of Echo with no luck, which was not normal. But so Echo had some phone problems, and it had to do with the area that she was in. I know that in some of the sources that I read or saw interview-wise that she had two phones the majority of the time, because if one wasn't working, she would try the other or vice versa.
Sure, yeah.
Just based on being in that rural location.
Yeah.
Kelsey, in an interview, says that around this time, she had actually called her to kind of make sure that one of her phones was working properly. She wasn't sure if messages or calls were going through to one of her other children. So she was telling Kelsey that her phone was kind of acting off. So this is kind of the headspace that Kelsey was in over these few days, was that, you know, the possibility of her mom's phone just not working. But enough was enough, time-wise. So Kelsey went back over to the house on May 15th, 5 days later. And when she got there, she was happy to see that Echo's car was actually in the driveway on this day. So she gets out, she goes up there, she tries knocking, no one's answering. She looked around the property. She had like a she shed that she would do some of her renovations and different crafts and stuff. She was very artsy, so she would be out there. And Kelsey said that she walked around trying to call her mom's name, and there was no response, no finding her mom. She did notice that the card that she left for her mom was still outside. But just the card. The plant was not out there at this time. She ends up going to one of the neighbors' houses, which is a little bit away. Echo's property, like I said, she had property. She had about 10 acres. So she goes over to see if anyone had seen her or heard from her. And the neighbor says no. No, he hasn't, which we're going to be talking about him, the neighbor, in a bit, because as the story unfolds, there's a lot of conversation about him and his role in Echo's life around that time and things afterwards. But let me say here again, no one has been arrested, okay? No one's been named a suspect. I'm not even going to say this neighbor's name. Right. I just encourage you guys to go look everything up yourself and get all the details on your own as well. But we will get to him.
Okay.
So Kelsey ends up going back to the house and breaking in through a window. And she gets inside, and Echo is not home. This is when Kelsey called and reported her mom missing to the police on May 15th, 2020. The police come out to the property, and now it's time to start looking into everything. And one of the main concerns that Kelsey shared with the officers on the scene is that it looked like someone else had been there. It was a mess when it came to food that was left out, trash that was left out. There was actually even like mold on the food. So like days old type thing.
Right.
And that's just not the way that Echo kept her house. Some other things that were out of the norm was that the plant that Kelsey had brought her mom on Mother's Day was in the home, and it was on her mom's nightstand or the dresser in her room. Other things that they found at the home that were weird, since she wasn't home, was her purse, Her purse was there. And Kelsey describes this as something that she would take, like she would have it all the time, but even from room to room, she would take this purse with her.
Wow,
so you just wouldn't see her without it.
Okay.
And then also her wallet and her ID were still at the house.
Okay.
Missing from the home were her car keys, her cell phone, the pistol that she would carry, and prescription medicines that she needed to take daily.
Oh, shit.
And so about the keys, like the keys being there is super weird to me because someone would need to, or not being there, would need to lock the door to leave. And the door was locked, but then also the car is there, you know? So it's like.
So her keys are missing, but the door is locked from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Or the inside, but no one's inside. So it had to have been from the outside and the car's there.
Yep.
Okay.
Super weird.
Very weird.
Super, super weird. Another thing that was brought up about being inside the house was cigarettes and a lighter in her room, but not the kind that Echo would smoke when she smoked. And I know that sometimes people buy different cigarettes.
Not really.
I was going to say, it's rare. If you smoke, you know that you have your
brand.
You have your brand, and that's what you buy.
Right.
So I'm just saying that it's not completely, like, you can't solve a case based off that one thing.
But yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yeah. So after looking around the house and kind of seeing stuff like this, they go outside to look around the property. And again, this is a 10-acre piece of land. While searching the property, Echo's pistol was found outside on the property. Definitely weird. That's just not something you come up on as a gun outside laying around.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And this is crazy because even with that, this house was never deemed a crime scene.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope. You're going to say that a lot as I get into the next things that happen. Yeah, you have a missing person. You have what seems like someone else in this home.
Right.
You have a pistol found outside. Not a crime scene. Like, are you even for real right now?
Yeah. I always wonder, like, what is there a rationale for, like, no, we're not going to, like, crime scene this up. Like, is there a rationale, or is it literally just people going, like, I forgot. Like, what? I don't understand that.
That's
crazy.
the thing, though, because it's not one person that you could be like, okay, that was a misjudgment on that one person's fault.
Right.
Like, it's a team. It's a unit. It is a group of individuals.
Somebody
and you
had to
all
have been
made
like,
this
hey,
mistake.
shouldn't we at one point? Yeah.
That's so freaking crazy to me.
That is crazy.
And it just continues to be crazy because no canine units were brought in to search the property. It's just, it's ridiculous, the things that I'm about to tell you. So over the next little bit of time, they did end up bringing in someone to run forensics on the car.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. But, I mean, they did it, and those results have never been shared with the family or with anybody.
God, no thank you.
Yeah,
what?
Take that back. It's just, yeah. And at this time, early on, it was said pretty much they had no reason to suspect foul play.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Everything that I just told you, and there's no reason to suspect foul play.
Why? Did she go?
Because people run away a lot.
Like, but like, how did she run away without any of her shit?
Yeah. Which, we see way too commonly. And yeah, we know statistically, right? People do run away and people do make the choice to disappear and go off grid.
Right.
But if things are not taken seriously from the get-go, so much damage could happen to the crime scene, to the investigation. Right. It just blows my mind.
It doesn't take that much to just err on the side of caution.
Seriously.
When it comes to, is this a crime, or is this like voluntarily a missing person? And it doesn't take, especially because she lives alone. It's not like you'd be kicking somebody else out of the house, right?
Right.
Like, so like it's pretty... It wouldn't be that much effort to just preserve the crime scene and just say, okay, no one's allowed in just for, just in case.
Yeah. Yep. So Kelsey, who, you know, they're going to say that they don't suspect foul play, this is not deemed a crime scene, these kind of things. Well, she's going to do what she needs to do to try to get answers. And so she ends up looking into her mom's phone and into her bank account. And guess what? No activity on either whatsoever. Right. So someone who's trying to run away, you need these things.
No sense, yeah.
Also, her prescription, it was not refilled whatsoever. These things are concerning.
Yeah.
And not only are they concerning, they're indicators, in my very unprofessional and uneducated opinion, that there's foul play.
Yeah. That this was not a voluntary, I'm just taking a random trip and running away. Like,
exactly.
This is clearly someone who's like, there's an issue. A
big issue. Yeah. And it just continues to be a big issue, and that's why we are talking about it today. So tips come in about seeing Echo at a Dollar General in Warsaw, Missouri, which is one of the closest places to shop to her home, about 20 miles away. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't like a later thing. It was around the time of her going missing.
Okay.
So, they actually found, when they were doing a search in her home, they found a receipt for the Walmart in Warsaw on Mother's Day, which dated May 10th, okay, with Echo's signature. I'm not entirely sure what was on this receipt, like what was purchased, but this discovery makes them believe that, so on this day, she was gone, like when Kelsey pulls up to the house, right. She's just out shopping.
Right.
So they have that. She's out shopping. She came home that day, went in the home. And so I don't know if that's why they're like, oh, she was fine on that day. But somewhere between the 10th and the 15th is when Echo vanished completely.
She's no longer fine.
We're going to get into suspects and theories and stuff in a few. But here's a few more things that I need for you guys to think about, okay? So yes. Different agencies have Echo's missing persons case, and it's an open investigation, and they are doing whatever it is they're doing. Mm-hmm. We don't know what they're doing because they're definitely not sharing it with the family or making it known to the public. Mm-hmm. Which I know that sometimes they do that and they hold on to things. I get that, okay? Now, Echo's family started to do their own digging and searching as well. Sure. And one of the things that irritates the shit out of me is that I mentioned Kelsey a lot, right? She's the one who has done many interviews. She's the one kind of like in the forefront or the face of searching for her mom.
Okay.
Not saying that the rest of them are not, but this is just the one that you see her in documentaries or different interviews and stuff, okay? So they go and talk with the worker. Kelsey goes and talks with the worker at the Dollar General so the tips came in saying that she was at a Dollar General out there. They see the Walmart receipt that she was in Warsaw, okay? So Kelsey goes to the Dollar General, and it's believed, Echo was spotted that day. And the worker who works there says that no police have contacted her for a statement whatsoever.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no one came to talk to her about anything. What? Blows my damn mind. And this part is going to upset and infuriate you. So the clerk at the store said that Echo was there on the 10th. She said that she was trying to buy a phone, like a prepaid phone. Mm-hmm. She said that she seemed a bit frazzled. I don't know the exact terminology that she used, but Echo went to the Dollar General here and there. This clerk, she's seen her before. She has seen her. She has talked to her. So she knew that on that day something seemed off.
Okay.
Then she said that Echo told her that she wasn't trying to get this phone or that she was trying to get this phone to contact her kids.
Yeah.
Then when she goes to pay, her payment failed. And she says out loud that someone drained her bank account and that people were waiting outside for her. So all of these things, all of this is something that came forward from the clerk, from the Dollar General, somewhere that a missing person was last seen, and yet the investigators did not go and look into it?
That's ridiculous.
What?
That's absolutely ridiculous. Oh my God, that's scary.
It's terrifying. And it's terrifying to know that They just don't even do, like, to me, that's the bare minimum.
Oh, yeah.
That's
we
the bare
have
minimum.
a missing person. She was last sighted here, except we're not going to go there. What the hell?
Yeah. And I know that I said it, like, briefly, and, like, we know, since we talk about this all the time, that sometimes they do go look into things, and they hold tight lip for a certain reason because they need to hold on to that. But
to not, like, they can say, like, I mean, for the clerk to say no one ever came here. I mean, come on.
So for her to say no one ever came there, that right there alone is just ridiculous. Yeah. But also getting the footage off of these cameras would provide what Echo was wearing when she was last seen in public, her last known day of being seen at this point, right? And it would potentially get who she was with in the vehicle.
Right.
How is that not important and not damning evidence when you're trying to find a suspect or find, you know?
Yeah.
You put all these things together. It just seems very criminal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not like someone who just took off on their own free will.
Mm-hmm.
There have been numerous searches for Echo over the past 4 years. Not enough, because she hasn't been found, but a lot of this has been put on by the family.
Yeah.
And there needs to be more done to help this family. And I'm going to talk about that and how you can help at the end of the episode. But first, let's get into some possible suspects and theories. And I'll add, again, this is my commentary. This is my thoughts based off of the information that I found while looking into this. There has not been anyone named a suspect, so I'm not even going to say his name. This is all alleged. I encourage you to do your own research. This is unsolved. It is open. Our goal here is to spread awareness and not let Echo and her missing persons case go a day without being talked about and looked into. Yep. She deserves to be found.
She deserves that, for sure.
So, Echo's ex-husband was looked into. Tom. Obviously, because you always look in that direction in any case, and it was recent. The person closest, the ex, the last known contact, they could all have a reason behind her disappearance. From all accounts I could find, Echo and Tom had a very amicable and respectful separation. While they were together, things were good. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something huge that resulted in their split. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was.
It was a huge thing, but but it wasn't like a huge thing within their relationship. Like Correct. There wasn't a big blow up fight within their relationship.
Right. Yeah. I mentioned that. She went through what she went through. Echo had been sexually assaulted by someone, and that was the factor in their divorce.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. It was heavy. It weighed on her, and navigating it was hard. And that was hard for him as well. He didn't know how to be there for her in the way that she needed. And so Kelsey mentioned that Tom cared for and wanted to look out for Echo even after the split. And so there was no motive. There was no reason. There was nothing that led for them to even look into him any further. Echo leaving on her own. Right? Yeah. It's obvious that from what I just mentioned, she went, like what she went through, that she had gone through a lot.
Yeah.
She was going through a lot, but she had so much to look forward to. She had this new home that she was working on. She had grandchildren. She had a grandbaby that was just born. I want to say like Kelsey had just had a month old. I'm not 100% sure on that one. She had her children. And so it's rare that someone decides to run from all of that. Mm-hmm. Okay? A neighbor. And there's so much on this neighbor, so you're going to have to stay with me, Heather. You guys haven't heard Heather scream in a while. It's about to happen. So Echo's family knew about this neighbor. From when Echo moved in, he made his presence known. Just showing up on her property?
No.
No. Showing up at her door? Just inserting himself into her life. And Echo was known as someone who was very friendly and was just a people pleaser in the way that she's just gonna befriend him and say, Just be kind. But there were signs that were definitely off. Especially when you start to look into the fact that the missing person's perspective, right? So in months before she disappeared, she talked about how she was trying to create distance between the two of them because he was doing things that were not okay. Coming over unwanted, trying to control her finances,
What?
saying who she could talk to, what she was allowed to do.
What the fuck? This brand new neighbor that she, like, barely knows? What the fuck?
Yeah. 3 weeks before she went missing, she actually went to Kelsey, and Kelsey explains that her mom told her that this neighbor was trying to take over her life. He had the keys to her house. He would come over uninvited, like I said. He took one of Echo's phones and would not give it back.
What?
Yeah, he wanted something more from Echo that she wasn't willing to give. And it's alleged that he wanted a relationship with her and was inserting himself for that reason. And she tried to be nice, but that's not what she wanted whatsoever.
Oh my God. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. All the red flags.
When Kelsey first knew her mom was missing, she actually texted the phone that she knew that the neighbor had and the one that he took from Echo and asked if he knew where her mom was.
Yeah.
He said no, that when he saw her, that he would tell her, to get a hold of her. And then catch this. He told her that he was sorry that they missed her on Mother's Day. They were shopping at Walmart that day and must have just missed her stopping by.
But how did he know that she came by?
Yeah.
And
super weird.
He's admitting to being one of the last people to see her alive.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, every single thing points in this direction.
It screams guilty.
It screams guilty, but it also screams, how are you not? And we're going to get into this. How are you not doing more?
Yeah.
Benton Police Department, how are you not doing more?
Yeah.
So,
totally.
This neighbor, okay, so talking about that, right? That text happened. So she shows up on the 10th to drop both those flowers. A couple days later, she texts this phone. And he knows that she went there. So super freaking weird. Super, super weird. And
so,
then...
yeah, how does he... So, like, what this is telling me... Sorry, really quick, because I just realized this. It's not... So she drops off the flowers and the card.
Yes.
He says, I was literally at the store with your mom. So it's not like he was a nosy neighbor looking out and saw it. It means that he returned to the home.
Yep.
After she dropped these things off.
Yep.
Seemingly with Echo.
Possibly.
I don't like that.
No, I don't like that. And so those text messages happened a couple days later. And then on the 15th, right?
The day
and
she
I want to
was
say there's
reported
actually,
missing.
yeah. So I think that there's actually a text that says, like, if my mom, like, if I don't hear from my mom in an hour, like, I'm calling the police.
Right.
Type thing. And so Kelsey came on the 15th. And when she was there, guess what? The neighbor came over. He went over there and was talking with Kelsey before the cops arrived. But when they arrived, the neighbor was no longer, like, able to be found.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And they go to his house hours later to talk or ask questions, get a statement, whatever. He didn't answer the door for a little while they're banging on the door. And then he comes to it and said that he was napping. He was napping. But nothing ever came from this.
How in the world was he not brought in, like, into a police station and officially
questioned? They did not take him in.
He literally admitted to being the last person to see her.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, Heather, I'm going to blow your mind even more. 2 weeks after Echo's disappearance, a body was found in the home of this specific neighbor.
What the fuck? This isn't... What?
All of this, it just screams, what is happening here? So the body that was found, so it was his grandfather, who he lived with, okay?
Okay.
Apparently, he was found dead in the basement. Not by this guy, not by him.
What?
By someone else, another neighbor went over to this house and found this man dead on the floor of the basement with a broken back, and they said that he was probably down there for a couple days.
And did his dad live with him in the house?
Not his dad, it's his grandfather.
Oh,
so
his grandfather lived with him in the house?
They live there together.
Wait. So you're saying that this neighbor and his granddad lived in the house together. His granddad ends up with a broken back on the basement floor for days, and the grandson isn't the one who found him like that.
Correct.
While he's living in the house.
Correct.
What in the fudge?
Yeah. What in the fudge? What in the fudge?
This makes no sense.
And Kelsey says it like in one of the sources about how she had a relationship with the grandfather too. Like they knew each other at this point, and that they were friendly. So did he know something? Like, was this something? Guess fucking what?
Oh my God, no, what?
During finding the grandfather, and when they go and look into this, guess what they allegedly found down there?
What?
Echo's prescription medicine. And yet they still did not serve a search warrant for his home.
What?
Nope.
How is that? How not?
How not?
You literally find the properties of the missing person in this house, and you don't get a search warrant for the rest of the house?
Nope.
Knowing everything you know? Knowing that he's the last person to see her? Knowing that this... I mean, you don't even need a search warrant. There is evidence of a crime having taken place because the grandpa ended up on the floor with a broken back. That is reason enough to say something bad happened here. We're searching the house for other evidence. You don't even need to go to a judge at that point. You just do it because of the safety.
Yep.
This makes zero sense, dude. It makes
zero sense, Heather. Absolutely zero sense that they did not search the home. Right now, he does not live in this home. So apparently his uncle owned the home. It was in the family, and him, the grandson and the grandfather were living there. So he's technically not even at the house at this point. Recently, so Kelsey has a Facebook, which I'll talk about in a minute, for her mom.
Yeah.
But there have been no updates whatsoever on her mom's case.
This is mind-boggling. This happened 4 years ago.
4 years ago, and everything that I just told you, and there are no updates. Yeah. On the Facebook page, when she goes live one time and says that she was told that they're not even looking into her mom's case at this point. So
this is
Kelsey,
so crazy because it's not like they don't have a solid lead. It's not like they don't
know where to go.
Shit ton of evidence.
You know where to go.
Exactly.
Right.
This isn't like someone who vanished and they literally have no idea what could have happened. They literally have a direct, wide open, yellow brick fucking road to follow.
Right. Exactly.
That's insane. So for the life of me, I'm hoping, just for benefit of the doubt, I don't even know, just for Echo and for Kelsey, I'm hoping that they're just lying to her at this point or something, and they're undercover, like going after this guy, or they're following these back roads, but they have to keep it quiet. Like, God, I hope, because that's ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. It makes me sick to know that you can trust someone so hard. Like she talks about how much trust and how much faith and how much she really believed in what they were doing in the beginning. Yeah. And
to just be completely let down.
Like shunned. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so sad. So Kelsey has been running this Facebook page for her mom, trying to keep her mom's case alive and going, because she needs to find answers. She needs to find her mom.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing here. We're sharing Echo's story to keep it going, to spread awareness, and in hopes bring every single one of you listening to go and follow this Facebook page for Echo. The more people who go there, the more people who see it, enjoy it, and share it, the more eyes, the better. Okay? The most recent things that I can share with you is that the family is working hard to raise money for a PI. And that's how we can help. That's how we can help Echo and her family. Kelsey is a single mother. She works and she raises children, and she has the weight of trying to find answers for her mother's case, as well as Echo's other children and family members. Her disappearance cannot be swept under the rug and forgotten about, because we say it all the time. Someone knows something.
For sure.
Someone has answers. There's just too much that could be done.
For sure.
Or should be done, and we have to get loud. We have to not stop talking. So here's what we need for you guys to do. Go to Facebook right now, add the Bring Echo Home Facebook page. Why does that name of that page just break my heart?
Yeah.
Go add yourself there, and then add every single person you know to that page, or share it all over your social media to help bring more and more people to that page. There's 13,000 people now, and that is not enough.
No.
It is not okay that
It'll
there's
never
only
be
13,000 people.
until,
Absolutely not.
Like, something is done regardless.
Right.
Like, that's...
There. I'm going to cough. Hold on. My bad. Like, got a lump in my throat. There is a GoFundMe that is raising money to help hire a PI. That is linked in the show notes. And if you're able to, whatsoever, anything helps when it comes to raising money for this family. Echo is 5'4". She has brown hair and brown eyes. She weighed between 100 and 110 pounds. She has a tattoo on her forearm with birds and the words, "Let it be." And she has her kids' names on her wrist. Kelsey, Case, Caitlin, and Kylie, they need your help. Singularly, maybe there's not much that we can do, but together as a unit, this mom cast can help to make a difference, to make changes, and that's our goal here. Yeah. If you have any information that could help to find Echo, to find answers, please contact the Benton County Sheriff's Office at 660-438-6135 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178.
Damn. Yeah, you guys haven't heard me scream in a while. I'm screaming. That is just on so many levels. She's already been through it, right? She'd already been through it the last couple of years. Then COVID hits, which makes you go through that much more crap. She's trying her best to live her life and heal and move past. She moves just to be bombarded by this unneighborly motherfucker.
Right.
Sorry, Terry. And it's like, and then on top of that, now, even with her missing, she's still getting like the worst possible things to happen, because how in the world is there not more? Like, there's so much. It's so crazy. There's so much to go on. There's so much evidence there. It's crazy to me that there's like, how in the world was the neighbor not even brought in question? I mean, they literally have evidence. Where's the security footage from Walmart? Like, I don't understand that. That makes zero sense. And then for them to straight up tell Kelsey, oh, we're not even looking into it. What in the fuck?
Seriously. I couldn't even imagine the punch in the gut that would be.
Completely. Yeah. What
just
in the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why, we've got to talk about it. We need to share her story as much as possible. Heather, she's the most beautiful person.
I want to look her up.
Look her up. She is the most beautiful person. The way that I described her in the beginning, and the way that, so I watched a video and I bawled. I sobbed my eyes out on a video that Kelsey posted on the Facebook page of when it came to the holidays, of her and her family would always joke about the fact that her mom was always late. She was always on her own terms. Like, she was late. You just knew she was going to be late, and it was just this running joke. And her talking about this and crying, just, you feel all of these things. And if that doesn't make you want to hold her hand and walk beside her through this fight for her mom, I don't know what else will. So we've just got to continue to talk about it, continue to share it. Please, you guys, go follow that Facebook page. Go share the pictures of Echo as much as you can. And like I said, if you are able whatsoever to make a donation to that GoFundMe, it is in the show notes. Help hire, and they're close. I want to say that they have it up there for 10,000, and it's a little over 8,000 right now too.
I mean, get them over. I mean, it is. We are right. The day we're recording this is right after Thanksgiving and Giving Tuesday, and we're in the holiday season. And I mean, we talked about it at the top of this episode. God, it hit me. Just hit me.
Yeah.
That, you know, we just worked on a project called The Homicide Tree, put together by Jenna and Jules of Fireside Media, talking about family members who will not be home for the holidays this season. And
Echo is one of them.
And it's one of those ones too where, I mean, we cover a whole, obviously you guys know we cover a slew of cases, some where there's literally no evidence. Like, we don't, like, what? There's
right. You don't know where to turn. You don't know where to look into.
Exactly. They're just like as if they were lifted out of the, like, literally, like, abducted by aliens, just like lifted completely out. And then we cover cases where there's clearly a path forward. And luckily investigators are following that case and or did follow that path forward. And then you have cases like this where there's also clearly a path forward and investigators have done nothing. I am really hoping it's like one of those things where it's like we were on an undercover operation, because you said he doesn't live there anymore. He doesn't live at that house anymore. So I'm really hoping it's one of those things that's like, you know, investigators are under a 3-year undercover operation to fucking get a confession from this guy or something. I don't know. But it's like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And if that is the case, like, more power to you. But to tell Kelsey, and I understand, like, you can't tell family members a lot too, but just to tell her straight up, we're not even working on it. Like, the least you can do is say, like, we're still looking into like that's crazy to me.
It
like,
is
how
crazy.
Heartbreaking. But seriously, yeah, this is why we do what we do. This is why, you know, we started this podcast obviously with the idea that, you know, we wanted to focus on moms, and we both have this passion for not only like true crime, but also like, you know, getting a story out there and sharing a name. And I think as we've grown over the last, oh my gosh, how many years have we doing this? 3 years. We've really come to find that our hearts are in a very much survivor and victim advocacy place. And so when we ask you guys to check out this Facebook page, like, that's where we're coming from, because everyone going on and checking out that Facebook page and, you know, sharing one of the missing posters from it or donating a few bucks to the GoFundMe, that could literally be the difference between Echo being gone for another holiday and Echo being, and at least even if she, God forbid, even if she's no longer with us, for her family to have closure. Right. Not to go through another freaking year without that.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Damn.
I know. Our hearts go out to this family, and I hope that people continue to spread her story and her picture and just everything until finally we can come with an update that says we've got him.
Yep.
That's all there is about that. So there you guys have it.
Good job,
right.
Rachel. But damn, Rachel.
I know. It's heavy shit. It's heavy shit. We know that, though. We know that, and it needs to be put out there. And we should all be screaming. We should all be getting mad. We should all be upset the way that Heather is. I mean, the way that I am, and everyone is when it comes to the fact that it's very obvious that more can be done.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like you said, hopefully it is happening, and, you know, they're staying tight-lipped for whatever reason there is. I have no idea. But hopefully we can see this come to a closure in the way to find answers and find justice for Echo and her family. So there it is. We will talk to you guys next week. Until then, go follow that Facebook page. That is an order. I'm going to 13,000.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to see how many people listen to this episode. And if I don't see that number go up that amount of people, I am going to be pissed as hell. Okay.
Seriously, it takes like 2 clicks. Obviously, it'll be in the show notes, that Facebook page. So literally click it and go from there.
All right. We will talk to you guys next Tuesday. Kay, love you. Bye.
Hey, I love you. Bye.